like everybody else, like a huge Kurt Russell fan, and I was just very
Yeah.
tickled that my first line to him was, "It's an honor to meet you." Was like literally
Yeah.
the first day that I met him.
Right off the bat, very curious to know what your relationship was with the Monsterverse before you were cast. Were you someone who didn't really know anything at all? Were you a super fan? Anywhere in between? Joe, do you want to start us off?
I didn't know very much about it. I feel like I saw the original, but beyond that, like I didn't have a whole lot of connection to the Monsterverse. This was like my baptism, so to speak.
Elisa, what about you?
I would say something similar. I'd seen a couple of the Godzilla films. I think I'd seen the 2014 one. And then we just discovered more and more as we just, as we went.
I was going to say, this is trial by fire. Was there any kind of like research or any kind of preparation that you did going in to really understand? Because I feel like we're really digging into the lore. Elisa, did you do anything?
I mean, I watched all the Monsterverse films then. Obviously, our show is standalone. It's connected to the other Monsterverse, but it's not dependent on it. But I did, was nonetheless curious about the franchise and the universe we're entering.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I think the same. I mean, like once I had the job, I felt a responsibility to go watch the films, and I actually I enjoyed them like quite a bit. Like it didn't necessarily. Yeah. It wasn't really had a connection beforehand, but like it's like once you kind of get in and go for the ride, it's actually like quite a bit of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm having a ton of fun with your characters as kind of these baddies, but actually I'm not quite sure what I think about them yet. Tell me a little bit about working together on these characters who are both delightfully nefarious and also so mysterious. I'm just waiting on learning their motives.
Well, I would just say that working with Elisa, it was like I was having the time of my life. She's such an amazing actor and is always like asking all the right questions, which is helpful for me to understand what's going on because I'm always confused and I just once she asks a question, oh yeah, good question.
Yeah, what about you, Elisa? Oh yeah.
No, please.
I mean, it so happens that Joe and I get on really well in real life, which was great and lucky. And it's just something that you discover as you go. Obviously, we also didn't know, is this going to be like, they are mysterious. Are they good? Are they bad? Is it going to be comedic cop duo? Like, we're not sure. We were just trying different things out and then just sort of seeing how it developed. Yeah. But it was great fun for sure.
Absolutely. And we leave your characters off kind of in this interesting crossing point where they've just met up with, Kate, Kentaro, and May and Shaw after they've been rescued from this frost bark and out in the wilderness. You tease for us about what is coming next, because I know that's quite the turning point for our story. Joe, do you have anything to hint for us?
Well, I remember because I'm just like everybody else, like a huge Kurt Russell fan, and I was just very tickled that my first line to him was, "It's an honor to meet you." Was like literally the first day that I met him. It's the first thing I said to him. But yeah, I do think it's like we've been through the sort of first act of the season, and I think things are really going to start to pick up from here as new characters like come into each other's orbit a little bit.
Well, I'm super excited to see what happens next. And Joe, you just kind of touched on this. I was going to ask, what's it like to work with Kurt Russell? Because he is obviously such an icon, and it was so fun to see that first scene there. Joe, you were geeking out a little bit.
Yeah, this is more like, yeah. I mean, it's very hard. It's hard to talk about because I don't want to give things away. But yeah, I mean, Kurt, I feel like is like, in a like they like don't meet your heroes, but I think he sort of dispels that because he like lives up to the reputation. He's such a nice guy and a great collaborator, and he's like a big presence, but he's also very generous about it. So I thought it was fantastic.
He's a very generous actor who has, obviously incredible experience, a real understanding of what makes a good scene, and is really all about the work being as good as it can be, which is just amazing. And it makes you, step up your game because you just have to keep up.
Absolutely. Well, but before I let you go, I'm just curious if both of you have a favorite creature that we've met so far. You know, no spoilers, but is there anyone that really strikes your fancy of the creatures we've met so far on this show? Lisa.
My fave has got to be Godzilla, you know.
Of course. Yeah. That's a good answer. Yeah. Joe, what about you? Do you have it about or Godzilla?
No, I think the same. I think the same. Like you're not. He's the king.
I was going to say pretty hard to beat, but just had to check in. Thank you so much for talking with me. The show has been super fun to watch, and I cannot wait to see what happens next.